What's up, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB Recap. The MVPs were out in full force last night. Judge, Stanton, Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, they all went yard. Now, Schwarber, he's not an MVP, but he made some home run history. He passed the Colossus of Clout, the Sultan of SWAT, Babe Ruth, and a pretty fun stat. Stay tuned for that. Paul Skeens, he was dialed in versus the Cardinals, but the Cardinals starter, he was also dialed in. We'll talk about that. The Diamondbacks, they had not just one, but two guys, one hit away from the cycle. Can one of them get there? We'll find out. All of that and more in today's MLB Recap. Just a reminder, we post these every single day, so join the team, hit that subscribe button. Just like AJ and Big Justice, the Costco guys, double chocolate chunk, they watch MLB Recap. I'm kind of mind blown. I'm starstruck. Also, don't forget to use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save 20 bucks off all of your tickets, and my code Fuzzy on Underdog Fantasy, my favorite daily fantasy app, gets new users a $250 bonus cash credit. You're welcome. So you guys saw the title. Before we talk about any of the highlights, we do have to talk about the fact that Toronto and LA made a trade. Cavan Biggio, he was just DFA'd by the Blue Jays, so that means that any team can make a trade for him, and it's finally happened. Biggio, he's heading to the Dodgers for a 6'4" strikeout slash walk machine, Braydon Fisher. I'll try and find some highlights. They're kind of rare, but Cavan, watch him turn into a 20 home run, 40 stolen base guy with platinum defense for the Dodgers, because that's what they always do with kind of floundering stars who used to be good, and then all of a sudden they get in a Dodgers uniform and they find the fountain of youth, aka Jason Hayward, Andrew Heaney. Now, one more thing regarding the Blue Jays, this is a big time loss. Alek Manoah was finally starting to come around, and he will be missing the next probably 2 seasons. He needs UCL reconstruction surgery, which means he's most likely out until 2026. I'm praying that he comes back in the second half of last year, but that's brutal. I feel bad for the guy. Corey Seager was welcomed back to LA to a round of applause and an absolute spanking of epic proportions. Will Smith, he slapped a 3-run home run to bring home Ohtani and Freddie. Mookie, he brought in a few more on a 2-run double. Mookie's having a weird June because he's only hitting 200, but he has 9 RBIs in 9 games. Gavin Lux, let's go, man. I'm not sure if his playing time is going to get reduced now that Biggio is going to be on the squad. I still believe in Gavin Lux. He's almost hitting 300 over the last 15 games, and now it's time for baseball sweet prince Ohtani. He was gifted a 92 belt-high fastball, and he goes 433 feet for a 2-run home run. He's on pace for a near 40 season while rehabbing a UCL injury. Freddie, he went the other way. He might be modern-day baseball's last chance at 3,000 hits. I mean, Teoscar, he's got 17 home runs. He wants to be a Dodger for life, and I don't blame him because that's RBIs 49 and 50. Jason Hayward, what did they put in the pregame Gatorade? It had to have been Gatorade Rain from a decade ago. Who knows? Maybe expired Gatorade Rain gives you superpowers. Look at Miguel Vargas. He's having a great time. Now, I will show this for Rangers fans. Duran, he's heating up big time lately, but this was a statement game. The Rangers, they get beat by 13. Before we show the Yankees versus the Royals, aside from Freddie Freeman, this guy might be baseball's only other chance at 3,000 hits because baseball is so much harder. Who's going to get 3,000 base hits next? It might not be anyone. How did Jose even make contact with that ball? Dubon, he scores on the ground out, and this ball was hit way off the ground and out. Brett Wisely, he ties it with a blast. He's hitting 305 with 9 RBIs and 56 at-bats. Houston got right back to it in the 5th inning, or at least they tried to. Dubon doubled, so there's a runner at 2nd and 3rd. Hicks, he wants to get out of it. Caratini, he's down swinging. Altuve, same thing. Did Matt Chapman just save it with a no, that's a bad throw. So 2 score on that error, and because Ronel Blanco was locked in, this game's a wrap. He had 8 punch-outs over 6 innings, only allowed 1 run. Now, I do want to show this. Altuve is 5'6". Sean Jelly is 6'11". That has to be the biggest height difference in baseball history, right? I can't really find the stat. Ryan Presley, he's so much better in the closer role. He strikes out 2 in a perfect 9th inning, his 2nd save. The Astros are now 1 game back of the Rangers for 2nd place in the West. So we talked about the Dodgers having a statement game. You guys want another one? Coming right up, this Judge guy, even when he's not hitting baseball 750 feet, he's somehow getting these to drop. Stanton had an RBI ground out. Glaber, he laced an RBI knock. And here's another Vegas boy, the 702 kid, Austin Wells. He went to the same high school as Joey Gallo. He went 420 feet to dead center for a 3-run moonshot. Stroman, he's been nearly unbeatable on the road. He went 5 2/3 shutout. He has a 1.5 ERA on the road, a 4 ERA in the Bronx. Aaron James Judge, if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, there is no need for Cooperstown. Over his last 41 games, who's doing this? A 401 batting average with 21 home runs, 4 stolen bases. He has not been caught one time, like Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, just a few guys in baseball history that can match those stats. Stanton is trying to mash his way back into Hall of Fame conversations, and I think StatCast lied. There's no way that was only 446 feet. Stanton's up to 16 home runs. He's the active leader with 418, so he's trying to get 500. Freddie Fermin, he pulled a Ezekiel Duran from the Rangers game, a solo home run down 8 million. The Yankees are top 3 in runs scored, home runs, OPS, and they're first in team ERA without Garrett Cole and Jason Dominguez. Seiya Suzuki thought he had a base hit versus the Rays, but Jose Siri had other ideas in mind. And on top of that, the Cubs, they thought they had a W. But the Rays as a team had other ideas in mind. Palacios, he laid out to make it a 1-run game in the 7th inning, and now it's tied up. Palacios, he doubles. Jose Caballero, he singled him home. Brandon Lau, he stepped in, and he stepped up. He's got 18 RBIs in 26 games after that walk-off home run. The Cubs, they've been the worst team in the National League for the last month. We're not done with wild and roller coaster games. Abraham Toro went yard on the very first pitch of this game versus the Padres. He's got 8 home runs and a 120 OPS plus dating back to last year over his last 75 games. That's pretty good. Tatis, nothing came of this. He was left stranded, but he now has a 17-game hit streak. I did not want to skip that, but skipping to the 5th, JP Sears, he cost himself a shutout. Luis Ariz, he beat it out because JP broke to first way too late, and unless he has negative 50 speed, it should not take that long. He was probably just, I don't know if he thought it was going to go foul or something like that. Ha-Seong Kim, he flew in to score, and Profar, he played it Ariz a few moments later. San Diego, they wanted 4, but Oakland's perfect relay cut off Jerkson at home plate, so instead of the Padres being up 1, it's now tied up. Tyler Soderstrom reset the score. He's got a home run in back-to-back games, and this isn't good. Profar left with a knee issue. Apparently, he's been dealing with tendonitis for quite some time, so hopefully he's going to be okay. It's 3-3 in the 9th. Kyle Higashioka said, I'm going to end it. More threes. He's got a home run in 3 straight games. Michael King's been better as of late. Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, same thing. The Juan Soto trade looked completely lopsided at first, and I'm not saying that it's completely equal, but those pitchers that the Padres got in return, they have been better. Before we show off Paul Skeens and why he got a standing ovation from another team's fan base, we have to show off a former Padre pitcher who was traded for Juan Soto. I guess before we talk about that, Brian Wu, who has been fantastic, he was scratched again. He has had nothing short of an injury-riddled 2024. I'm praying that he's going to be okay, but there's another guy in there. Drew Thorpe, his first career strikeout, he got J-Rod with a 70-grade change. Remember, he was traded for Juan Soto and then Dylan Cease. That's a compliment. If you're traded that many times for guys like Soto and Cease, yeah, people think very highly of you. The White Sox were fighting so hard for the kid, and as you can see, they were diving for baseballs 20 feet away from them. Mitch Garver's RBI double was matched by a solo home run from Andrew Vaughn. He's hitting .280 with 7 home runs over the last 28 games. Paul DeYoung, more like Paul DeBombs, is back. They go back-to-back. Paul has 13 home runs. Unfortunately, Drew Thorpe, he learned the hard way not to let J-Rod get on because Julio, he steals second base, and Cal Raleigh's double down the line, made it a 1-run game. But check this out. Drew Thorpe, or like Jim Thorpe, if you guys remember Jim, one of the best athletes ever. Drew struck out 4 in 5 innings. He only allowed 3 base hits. That's a pretty nice debut if you ask me. Unfortunately, though, the bullpen for the White Sox gave up his lead. Cal Raleigh, he was clutch again. A walk-off slam a few days ago. That's a go-ahead 2-run double. Ryan Stanek, he secured his 5th save. The Mariners, they've won 3 games in a row. To my surprise, Miles Mikolas made this game a duel. Both Paul Skeens and Mikolas, they were pumping strikes, and Paul was doing his thing. I mean, come on. 6 scoreless with, what, 8 punch-outs? Miles Mikolas, he was pretty good as well, and actually, he's been pretty good ever since he gave up this viral home run where it looked like the worst pitch ever thrown. Miles allowed 1 base hit. Siani, he couldn't save the no-no. He worked out of it, though, as Arenado, he snagged it and hit the base, so that double play ends it. 7 shutout, 1 base hit, 6 strikeouts. He has a 2.7 ERA over the last 5. Skeens, he worked into the 7th as well, but after a base knock to Arenado. Is this a standing ovation from the opposing team's fan base? That's why I like St. Louis Cardinals fans, because they show up to every single game, and they just seem like they care about baseball. Even if it's not one of their own player, they can respect game. I love that. Skeens, he's got a 2.4 ERA and 46 strikeouts in his first 33 innings. Aroldis got them out of that inning, and Pittsburgh, they got a run home after Mason Wynn nearly saved the 0-0 score. He stopped it, he fired it home, but Pages, he couldn't handle it. O'Neal Cruz, he brought in Kutch with a big-time sac fly, and it's big because Nolan Gorman is Timothy Turner. 15 home runs. Oh, what? Uh-oh. That was catcher's interference. So instead of having a third out and the W, Michael Ciani, he can do something, and that's a whiff. Pittsburgh, they're now 32-34. St. Louis is 31-34. The only team above 500 in the Central is the Brewers. Kyle Schwarber, nah, that's not his name. June Schwarber is back at it. He completely owns the month of June. That first home run went 444 feet. This next one went 427 feet. He just passed Babe Ruth for the lowest at-bat per home run in June history. He's got one home run for every 10.4 at-bats. Ruth was at 10.6. So again, Schwarber owns the month of June if we're talking about power. Zach Wheeler was basically flawless on the bump. He went 7 innings with 4 strikeouts. He only needed 88 pitches, but again, he's out after 7. Jose Alvarado, he struck out Devers to secure his 12th save of the year. The Phillies, they're trying to become MLB's first team to 50 wins. They're at 46. I forgot to mention the Yankees have 48. So we have some shutouts coming your way. The future 2026 AL MVP Jorge Mateo came off the IL and he celebrated in style. He drove one far for a 3-run home run. He's one of 5 players in baseball with 4 home runs, 4 DRS, and 10 stolen bases. So the power, speed, defense threat, he's coming for the crown in 2026. Obviously, I'm lying. Whoa, Orlando Arcia. That was a disgusting play to rob Jordan Westburg. The Orioles starter, Albert Suarez, he continues to impress and impress. He went 5 1/3 shutout before getting yanked for Webb, who diced up Duvall, and then got Kelnick to fly out to end any threat. The 34-year-old Suarez has a 1.6 ERA, by the way, just throwing that out there. Austin Hayes, he laced one to left, and Kelnick, he missed it. So the aggressive send for Ryan Mountcastle actually works out. Baltimore, they shut out the Braves. The Braves, they lost 4 games in a row. They're basically dead last in every single offensive category the last month. Meanwhile, the Orioles, they've won 5 in a row. They're top 5 in everything, including team ERA. The Orioles and the Yankees is what MLB wants for an ALCS matchup. That would do numbers. Carlos Rodriguez of the Brewers made his MLB debut. He was rocking with the 00s as his jersey number. That's his first big league strikeout. Varsho, he's back home. He's from Wisconsin. He put himself in scoring position, and after Justin Turner singled, Springer, he hit one barely over the head of Bryce Terang. Spencer Horwitz, he blooped one in, I think, in the 4th inning, and this was all while Yusei Kikuchi was throwing a gem. He did walk 4, so I don't know if you can call it a gem, but he did go 5 innings, and he held Milwaukee scoreless with 5 strikeouts, which is not easy because Milwaukee, they rake. Davis Schneider, he made a nice grab to Rob Contreras, and then he scores on a Danny Jansen double. Danny Jansen has a 135 OPS plus and 16 extra base hits. Jimmy, I'm pretty sure that's how you say his first name, even though it's a Y, it's Jimmy Garcia. He worked the final out in the 8th, then he goes 1, 2, 3 in the 9th. He's been insane this year. He's got a 1.9 ERA, a 12.2 strikeouts per 9. Milwaukee, they're slipping a little bit. They're 5-5 over their last 10. The Ohio Cup is back at it. It's been a decade since the Reds were hoisting that trophy and won a series against the Guardians, or I should say Cleveland Indians, whatever you guys want to call them, from 10 years ago. The Reds came out hacking, but thankfully Tyler Freeman is showing that Miles Straw is never ever coming back. He robbed Cincy twice in 1 inning. He's got 6 home runs, 8 stolen bases, and he never strikes out. Same with this guy. Steven Kwan sliced it to left field, past the third baseman, to score for the lead. Steven Kwan is hitting .380. Josh Naylor, he brought home Steven to give Tristan a 3-1 lead. Well, now it's 3-2 because Ellie brought home Spencer Steer. Tim Aaron, he came in relief of Tristan. He doused the fire. He's rightly pumped up after ending the threat. And oh my Josh Naylor, he's a threat to any baseball thrown to him. He's got 17 home runs and 50 RBIs. Class A, he had a scary 9th, not just for me as a Guardians fan because he allowed a run to score off the bat of India, but sheesh, watch your lips. Blake Dunn, he's a former football player. I don't know if it was college or high school, but they brought it up in the broadcast. He just smirked it off. He said, nah, I've done this before. He's a man. Class A eventually does get the save. He's got 20 of them. The Guardians, they win 5-3. From the Battle of Ohio to the battle of 2 teams who use the letter A as their logo, and we're not talking about the A's. If you're a Diamondbacks fan, this is like Christmas coming early. Corbin Carroll, he hit the gap, and even though it was absolutely smoked, he is so otherworldly fast, it's still a stand-up triple. Perdomo, he's back from knee surgery. Good for him. He brought in a run. The Halos, they did bounce back, but this is why Arizona gave Grichuk so much money over the, well, not a ton of money, but he was signed to do this. Mash lefties. Like, he literally becomes an elite hitter when he's facing lefties. That's a 2-run go-ahead, oh no, don't look. Oh, Hoppy, he took one to the marbles. He had to come out the game. I'm praying that he's going to be okay. Randall, he's back at it again. He doubled, so now he's a single away from the cycle, but they walked him. Cowards, I'd say, but yeah, Randall, he got him 4 times in this game. Gabriel Moreno, he had a big game as well. He had 2 RBIs between the 6th and the 7th, a double, and then the second was on a single. Lourdes, I called him the Lord of RBIs. He got 2 more RBIs right there. Randall, hello? He was so close to a cycle. He was one single away from it, but then he skies out right there. Speaking of close to a cycle, Corbin, same thing. He tripled, doubled, singled. He needed a home run, and he hit it up in the air. He was trying for it, but no cycle for him either. Doesn't matter, though, because the Arizona Diamondbacks, they put up 9, and Corbin Carroll, he got it going. That's huge. Cal Quantrill has been holding it down for the Rockies basically all season long. He held the Twins scoreless through 5. He matched Louis Varland pitch for pitch, who also went 5 shutout. He's on the Twins. But as soon as he left, Tovar, Thielbar said, try and hit this one, buddy, and Tovar said, okay, and he teed it up for a 3-run jack. He's got 11 home runs, 32 RBIs, 7 defensive run saves while hitting .292. Tovar is only 22 years old. McMahon, he almost went yard, but he's in there for a lefty-lefty double. So after a sac bunt and then a sac fly, McMahon, he scores. Cal, he's pretty appreciative. He went 6 shutout. He completely owns Minnesota. He's now 6-0 with a 1.5 ERA versus the Twins over his last 7. Byron, he caught up to a 100 kind of flat fastball, like 100 miles an hour is awesome. But again, if you throw it flat, big league hitters are going to catch up to it. 440 feet for a 2-run blast. But this ball went even further. Ryan McMahon went 441 feet way out to right field. He has 11 home runs and 35 RBIs. Carlos Santana, he does not want to lose. He's got double-digit home runs. That's number 10, but Kinley, he eventually closed it out. Bud Black now has 500 career saves for the Rockies, which if it seems like it's taken forever, it's because it has. It's the Rockies. We have another 5-4 game. Jesse Winker, why did he bat flip a walk? Well, first of all, it was a bases loaded walk, so he gets an RBI, but in his first at-bat, he was rung up on a bad pitch, so he wanted to show up the umpire. Maeda only allowed 1 hit and 1 run, and he's out after 4. CJ Abrams, he says, I'm cool with that. He now has an NL best 5 triples on the year. Detroit just seems to be the new place to hit triples, that and San Francisco. Joey Gallo, he's in there for the RBI, and CJ, he tested the arm of Mark Canha, and he's in there for a sac fly. Lane Thomas owes CJ a steak dinner because not a lot of guys will tag on that, but teammates love the hustle because instead of a normal out that lowers his batting average, it doesn't count as an at-bat, and he gets an RBI because it was a sac fly. That's pretty cool. The Nationals starter, Mitchell Parker, was 1 out away from going 5, and there's no way. He bobbled it. And then after the error, they walked Mark Canha to load the bases for Riley Green, who split the gaps. He almost hit a grand slam, and he didn't even really need to hit a grand slam because it turned into a Little League home run. The Tigers are now winning. Yeah, Riley Green said, I'm taking offense to you walking the guy ahead of me. The Tigers made another mental mistake. Cridler, he booted it, and then Ildemaro Vargas, his sac fly ties it at 4. Lane Thomas, his second sac fly of the game. By the way, I forgot to mention we're in the 10th inning now, so Washington, they're up a run. We do need free baseball. Kyle Finnegan, he is a machine. He got 4 outs in this one, 3 strikeouts. He has a 1.65 ERA. The Nationals, they've won 4 games in a row. Who was going to tell me that Francisco Alvarez was back in the lineup? I guess it kind of makes sense now why they DFA'd Tomas Nido, but I had to mention that Alvarez is in fact back. El Troll is back. Miami had the lead, TA7, good for him, but then they lost the lead. Mark Vientos, he's got 10 extra base hits and 15 RBIs after that 2-run double and just 75 at bat. So it's 2-1 New York. When Tim, he got on again. Vientos, he made a nice play, but shout out to the veteran instincts of TA7. He got all the way to third base. Again, that's a veteran play. Lindor, he got there a little bit late. McGill, he walked a guy, and Bader, is he going to make this grab? He just missed that. I think that he took his eye off of it because Brandon Nimmo kind of scared him. Like, he took his eye off the ball for a split second to not run into Brandon Nimmo. Vientos, that error led to a 3rd run, and another error allowed Miami to score a 4th run later in the 9th because Otto Lopez, he was able to get the 3rd on the bad throw. Nick Gordon, he skied a sac fly, and then Tanner Scott, the lefty, he's basically untouchable. He got a 6-out save. He struck out 3. He's got a 1.3 ERA and 8 saves, and he's been doing this pretty consistently since the second half of last year when David Robertson wet the bed. Guys, that does it for today's recap. Thank you so much for watching and always supporting the series. I just want to say one more time, I'm very, very thankful, very, very blessed to have you guys on my side. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the web gems.
2 outs, nobody on in the first, and Guerrero, ground ball. Adames, a diving play, gets up, throws to first, and Hoskins with a scoop. Ground ball up the middle, Anderson gets to it, spins and throws, and Bell able to keep his...
Fought off, over first, Rizzo and Torres out, and Rizzo makes the catch! What an outstanding...
Up the middle, Blish on range, flip it, dig it, nice! Right.
Ramos racing back, and he makes the catch up against the wall.
Fly ball, shallow right, and over the shoulder.
Whoa, hard one-hopper. Volpe able to grab and throw across in time.